This 18th century survey map of Bengal and Bihar reveals India's undisputed economic engine. Its dense settlements and complex river networks acted as the primary arteries for immense wealth. Bengal operated independently, utilizing a strict cash-based revenue system managed by influential bankers. To European traders watching from the coast, Bengal represented a highly lucrative corporate asset, fully stocked and ripe for extraction. This coat of arms belongs to the British East India Company. It represents a heavily armed, profit-driven foreign corporation focused on maximum returns for shareholders. This diagram illustrates their primary market advantage. In 1717, the company secured a royal decree granting them tax-free trade for a flat fee of just 3,000 rupees a year. Wealth funneled directly to the company, while local Indian merchants remained blocked by heavy tax barriers. Company employees illegally abused this corporate loophole to shield their own private trading. By refusing to pay local duties, they undercut Indian merchants and starved the Bengal administration of vital revenue. The breaking point arrived when the young Nawab, Siraj ud-Daulah, moved to enforce local laws. When the company ignored his regulations, his forces smashed through the doors of their unauthorized fort in Kolkata, forcing the English officers to flee. The East India Company calculated that replacing the government would be significantly cheaper and more profitable than paying taxes. To execute this regime change, the company dispatched Robert Clive from Madras. Clive leveraged backroom politics and massive calculated bribery rather than relying on his small military force. Clive struck a secret deal with the Nawab's military commander, Mir Jafar, and wealthy local bankers. A single bag of gold outweighed the Nawab's army of 50,000. The company would install Jafar as a puppet CEO in exchange for his betrayal. That deal dictated the events of June 23, 1757. At the Battle of Plassey, the Nawab's massive army simply stood still in the rain. Their weapons remained lowered. Corrupted by Clive, the military leadership simply refused to fight. The leadership of Bengal was purchased from underneath its citizens in a calculated corporate takeover. Mir Jafar quickly went bankrupt trying to meet the company's relentless financial demands. His successor, Mir Qasim, rebelled by attempting to modernize his army and abolish the company's unfair tax monopoly so local merchants could compete again. Recognizing the corporate threat, Mir Qasim teamed up with the Nawab of Awadh and the Mughal emperor to create a unified front. On October 22, 1764, that alliance met English commander Hector Munro at the Battle of Buxar. Munro's disciplined, modern military tactics decisively crushed the Indian forces. The English lines fired in perfect unified synchronization, overcoming the alliance's superior numbers. Buxar proved the East India Company had become the supreme military power of the subcontinent, capable of dismantling local resistance through sheer tactical force. Following the defeat at Buxar, the Mughal emperor signed the Treaty of Allahabad in 1765. This gave the East India Company, the Diwani, the absolute legal right to collect all tax revenue across Bengal. This diagram reveals the dual government system. A massive river of tax revenue flows entirely into the company's vaults, while the crushing weight of public administration and justice drops onto the local Nawabs, who were forced to govern with no money. The company collected all the revenue while holding none of the responsibility. They had successfully engineered a structure for absolute financial extraction with zero public accountability. Company officials ruthlessly squeezed the agricultural sector for every possible coin. Once lush green fields wilted and cracked into dead earth as local farmers were taxed beyond their ability to survive. This extraction led to the famine of 1770, where millions of people starved to death. Despite a third of the population dying, the East India Company's tax collections remained high. They continued to drain a dying land for profit. This is Warren Hastings, who arrived as governor in 1772. He immediately abolished the facade of the dual government system. The corporate charade was over. In its place, the East India Company cemented a direct imperial occupation that would ignite centuries of resistance across India.